Good morning and welcome back to Scale Auto Guy's Workbench. Today we're going to move away from the Scale Auto part of the workbench and we're going to be building the first ever aircraft on the channel. Now this isn't the first aircraft I've ever built, but it's the first one I've built on the channel. So I chose this Trumpeter P-40 Warhawk as my first subject. Let's take a look at the parts trees, shall we? First up is your main wing, lower part and the upper part, and your tail, landing gear. There's only 2 trees in this, unless you count the glass, then there's 3 trees in it. It's very small and very basic. Next tree is your fuselage, exhaust, your nose cap for the propeller, and your propeller. There's not a whole lot to this kit, so it shouldn't take too long to build this. Be mindful when you take the trees out of the bag. You may have some parts that are flying around. That goes underneath the fuselage. It's the air intake for the engine. Here's your canopy and side glass. Now, the nice thing about this kit, the P-40 was used by more than just the United States. It was also used by Great Britain and a couple other countries, but Great Britain, they give you Great Britain decals and decals for the United States. It also gives you the little war mouth that goes on the nose, and a little bit of I guess it would be tail wing art or nose art, fuselage art, wherever the hell you want to put it. They also give you a nice little lithograph to show you where the decals go. That's for the British. They called it the Kitty Hawk. I guess it was Kitty Hawk, but yeah, whatever. I always knew it as the Warhawk, but there you go for the American, United States markings, Russia markings. That was the other one, the red stars. I should have known that. Russia markings. Paint schemes. I don't know if I can duplicate those. I've never done a camouflage paint scheme before. Can't imagine it's that hard. And the last thing that came in the box is the assembly instructions. Seem pretty straightforward. I think the hardest part for this kit build is going to be the paint. I do have some of the colors here that I could use, but I will have to study up a little bit on how to do a camouflage paint job, or I can just do a straight green on top and gray on the bottom. I don't know. It's been a while since I built an aircraft, and the last one I did was an F-16, and that was over 20 years ago. So we're going to have to wait and see how this comes out. All right, let's get some sub-assemblies done, and we'll head over to the paint booth. I get some primer thrown down, and yeah, we're going to have to look into the paint and see what paint scheme I want to do, and whether or not I can do a camouflage paint job. A test? Maybe. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, fellas, I looked through all of my paints, and other than some metallic Christmas greens and stuff like that, these 3 containers of green is all I have that is not metallic. And I'm not sure if they're a matte or if they're a gloss, because they don't say. But first one is this Kelly green, and let me show you what that looks like. You know, I don't know if you're being able to see that or not. I don't have a whole lot of light going down in there. That looks, it's a little too green for things, so I might be able to use that for the interior. You're not going to see it that well. The next one is Hunter Green, and this is a little bit darker, green. That might be acceptable. And the last is olive green, which is, well, here, let me shake that up. It's an olive green. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this for the external parts of the aircraft, along with either this light mocha, which looks like that, or this territorial beige, which is a darker brown. Now, like I said, I have zero experience doing any kind of camouflage painting. I have never, not once have I ever done camouflage paint on anything. So, what I'm thinking about doing, if I get that lithograph, hold on a second. Now, for the British markings, it looks like it's maybe a dark green followed by a different shade of green. I don't know. And the bottom looks kind of a gray. If I look at the American, it's green and brown. And the Russian's basically the same pattern, almost the same coloring. What I'm thinking, because of my lack of experience and my lack of knowledge on how to do it, what I'm proposing is the top surfaces of the aircraft, I'm going to leave the bottom, like the bottom of the wings and the very bottom of the fuselage, this gray, this primer gray. What I'm thinking about doing, and this is probably horribly wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mist over top with my airbrush, have the plane sitting flat and even on like one of my paint stands or my carousel in there or whatever, and then just misting the olive green paint over the top of the wings, the top of the fuselage, and try to blend it. You know, don't go this way, just straight above it, and try to just kind of mist it down the sides and call it a day. I don't think I'll be putting any kind of a clear coat on this, so it'll be kind of a, you know, this primer is flat. I think this olive paint is a matte paint. I'm going to have to test that. And that's what I'm going to do. That's the paint job I'm going to give it. Because, like I said, I have very little knowledge on how to do camouflage painting, and I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so let's get on. You know, I've painted just a couple of little things black. Let's go ahead and clip out that fuselage, get that put together, and we'll go from there. Alright fellas, I jumped a little ahead. I've gotten the wings glued together, and I shaped that wing edge because it was a little ragged. I've got, as you can see here, I got the fuselage all clamped together. I just glued it up, and I'm going to take the clamps off of it now. And a little piece of tape that I had to put on the bottom. I tried putting a clamp down here, but it's such a thin point right here that it was just folding inside of each other. I've got the cockpit interior done. It's just basically three colors: this brown, the green, and flat black. I got a little painting to do back here, and I'm going to be putting the glass on. Got the exhaust and the, I guess you could call that the hood that goes on yet. And let's do the exhaust next. I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and sorry. I'm going to go ahead and do all of the assembly and then paint it. I'll just have to mask off, you know, the glass and what have you. I think that's probably going to be my best bet. And hopefully, if everything goes right, hopefully everything will go together. So yeah, even the exhaust pipes, it's funny. I just clipped off number 3. I don't know if you can see that or not. Clipped off number 3, but on the directions it says number 3. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. Forget about that. Forget I said anything. Ooh, that's a little too long. The hole is not big enough for this to sit down in there flush. See that? So either the hole's got to go bigger, or I got to trim some of this off back here, or just sand it off. Let's make sure that that's flat. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take some of this off back here. So I'm not gonna cut that hole any bigger. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try, because knowing my luck, I'd cut it too big. To keep that shape, I'm gonna rock this back and forth. Let's test fit that now. Oh, wait a second. Okay, let's try this. There you go. That's it right there. I think I might hold off on putting the exhaust pipes in, because those have got to be painted a separate color. And whoops. That's probably, there we go. So I'll hold off on those because those got to be painted a separate color, but the rest of the fuselage I'll go ahead and do. I might have to hit this with another coat of primer before I do my final paint job, because I'm having to do a lot of sanding. I had to do quite a bit to get that fuselage together, so there we go. And that, and I'm probably going to have to sand some of these parts after I get them assembled. I always give the edges, because I prime these the way I do, I always give the edges a good little sweep of the knife here, just to kind of scrape off the excess paint, so I have a good surface for adhesion. Nothing worse than building something and then you're just putting the finishing touches on it and it's falling apart because you didn't get enough glue on it, or you got enough glue but the surfaces were blocked by the paint. Alright, let's try this like this. Ugh. I've got too much stuff on this desk right now. Yeah, this is looking a little sloppy with the glue. I'm not used to working on something quite this small, nor am I used to working on aircraft. So I'm going to have quite a bit of cleanup to do. And that's another reason why I say that I might need to put another coat of primer on. Just to cover up my oopses. I'm not normally this sloppy, you guys know that. But for some reason on this one, things just aren't going the way I want them to go. Okay. What's next? Looks like the wings go on next. So, let's see. We'll test fit this here real quick. Come on, get on in there. Stubborn thing. There we go. Just had to kind of slide it into place. Ah, it's starting to look like an airplane. Okay, let's put a little glue on this situation here. All right. Come on. There you go. I find it interesting. People have commented on my use of tube glue, and I think sometimes the people that are opposed to this, they just don't know how to use it. I may be incorrect there, but that's kind of my thinking. Or they've listened to too many people tell them they shouldn't be using that kind of glue. There's nothing wrong with tube glue. Nothing wrong with its use. There is something, however, wrong with this airplane that doesn't want to meet flush. There we go. Just had to have a little persuasive pressure put on it. Not liking how that wing's riding, but there we go. There we go. Now, like I said, I'm not going to put anything like the landing gear and that kind of stuff on yet. The steps right now is calling for the landing gear to be put on. But I think I want to paint it first. At least get another coat of primer on it. Now, normally with a car build, I usually don't follow the directions because, you know, I've built so many cars I can do it with my eyes closed. But with this, I'm kind of following the directions because I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Now, like I said, it called for the landing gear. Well, it actually called for it to be constructed. I am going to do that a little bit out of order. Try to get a little bit more organization and room here. It's getting out of hand. Okay. I think I'm going to hold off on the propeller. It does show putting the nose cap on it and everything. Yeah, I think I'll wait. Just go ahead and put this the fuselage parts together. Get everything together except for the landing gear and that kind of stuff. The accessories, if you will. Accessories. This is coming together pretty easily. I know it's a basic kit, whatever. It's not fully detailed like some of your more expensive brand name aircraft, but it's something different, and I don't know, I kind of like it. Now, I know it goes against the scale auto part of it, but it is a scale model, so. And besides, scale model guy was already taken. Shout out to you. Yeah, the name was already taken, so I had to go with this one. And I already had this name sort of back many years ago. I kind of I had a email address that was Scale Auto Guy, and so that was kind of a helping push to get this channel's name. Oh, this is coming together nice. Okay. And I think there's a little piece that goes back there, but I'm not sure. I thought I saw it on the parts thing. Yeah, I saw it in the directions. I thought I saw it on the treat. There it is. Now, I'm not sure which direction this goes on there. Nice thing about this kit, there isn't a whole lot of flash on it like you'd see on car kits. And I don't know if it really matters which direction this goes, as long as it goes. Well, it goes right in there. So what I'll do is a little dab of glue here when it starts flowing. I never squeeze the tube, I just let it basically gravity drain. And that prevents your big globs from coming out. Which I did get a kind of a glob there in that corner, but nice thing about it is I can spread it around with this toothpick. Like that. It thins it out. Yeah, I'm going to have some cleanup to do here. Is it me, or does it look like it's crooked? I don't know. Kind of looks like it's crooked. I don't know. Okay. Let's get the tail wings on there. Like I said, I'm going to get this all put together, and then this is 7, so it goes this way. Yeah, like that. Okay. I'm going to get it all put together. I might throw another coat of primer on it And then I'll go to my top coat of paint. On the upside to all of this, I think that the paint colors I have over here are all matte, so I don't have to worry about shine, because these planes were not shiny. They were painted in a kind of a drab color, so they didn't reflect, and they were easier to camouflage, if you will. There we go. And let's get that other one off of there. Now, one thing I noticed about this kit that it's one of my pet peeves, is where they mounted the parts on the tree. They've hidden those mounting points. I mean, it was right in the middle of this tab, which goes inside the fuselage. You don't see it. So once it's inside, it's hidden. Like I said, once it's inside. Okay. Adjust them and make sure that they're straight. There's no up and down, you know, this way too much, but okay. Alright, I think that is just about it for the main body. Let's look at the direction sheet here real quick. Yeah, that's showing the final touches here. Assembly here. So the main part of the body is put together. I have to mask off the opening for the cockpit, and then okay, well, let's halt the assembly for this point, and I'm going to mask this off so it doesn't get any paint into the interior. We're going to go over, I'm going to throw another coat of primer down, and then we'll go to our paint. I'm not sure. I'm thinking the olive drab, just do just a mist over top and let it fall down the sides the way it wants to. Although I could mask it off, but I think I'm just going to mist over top and let it fall the way it wants. And we're going to call that the paint job. Now, I know that there's guys out there, you're going to tell me, oh, you should have did this and I should have did that. That's fine. I can appreciate that. But I don't do aircraft and I don't do camouflage. And this is going to be a first. Let me do it like this. I'll branch out into the camouflage later, because I do have other aircraft. I have a P-51 Mustang. I have a couple of F-18s and F-16s and F-14s and all of that stuff, and we're just getting started in the aircraft. Alright, I'll see you in the paint booth. Okay, fellas, I decided I was going to try to mask this off and enclose it so I could paint this, and I discovered that masking that off is very difficult because there's thin edges and there's not a whole lot for the tape to adhere to. So what I did is I took some of my olive drab paint and I painted in the sides here. I just finished that up. The paint's still just a little wet. You can still probably see a little shine in there. Once that's dry, I'm going to go ahead and put the canopy on. And then I'm going to tape off the canopy, which would be infinitely easier, I think. So, once that's done, then I can paint. Alright, so let me get this canopy on, get it taped off, and we'll head to the paint booth. Shoot one more coat of primer on this so it's a nice even coat all over the plane. And once that's dry, I'm going to take this olive drab, and like I said before, I'm just going to mist coat over top of the plane. Everything underneath is going to be this color. It's going to be kind of ghosted down the sides, and hopefully it looks good when it's done. So I'll see you at the paint booth. Alright fellas, I've got everything pre-painted. I've got the aircraft pretty much done, with the exception of course, you know, the landing gear and that kind of thing, but the main fuselage is done. As I said, I was going to do the gray on the bottom and the olive drab on the top, which turned out pretty nice. So we got to do the landing gear, propeller exhaust, and that's just about it. So I'll see you on the final. Welcome to the final on this P-40 Warhawk by Trumpeter. This is the first aircraft that I've built on this channel, and the first in over 20 years. The last aircraft that I built was an F-16, and that was way back in 1995. Now I realize that this is somewhat different from the norm for the channel, but it's kind of great to step out of the comfort zone once in a while, and boy howdy did I step out of the comfort zone. Not only was this an aircraft, but it was a tiny aircraft. It measures in at around 6 inches in length and 6.5 inch wingspan. It is 1/72 scale after all. Now let's touch on some of the things about this kit that I like and I don't like. First of all, it is a small plane, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. It was fun and simple to build, and it went together pretty easily. There wasn't any flash on this kit at all, which was refreshing. I was a little disappointed though with the assembly instructions, mainly because they didn't have decal callouts during the build, and because of that I missed the instrument control panel decal, and I didn't realize until I was cutting out the rest of the decals to put on after the build was done, and well, it was way too late at that point. The good thing about that is, though, you can't really see the control panel through the tiny canopy anyway, but if I had decided to have the canopy open, it would have been visible. So it would have been nice to have the decal on that control panel. Speaking of decals, they were a little stubborn to come off the backing paper, even with warm water. I know I've complained about that in the past, and you guys go, well, you need to use warm water. I always use warm water, guys. Always. Some of these decals come off real easy. Some of them, like Revels, you have to fight them. You have to let them soak forever, and then they'll finally release. Now, you can't see it, but on the starboard side, the mouthpiece, it started to tear while I was pulling it off the paper. Luckily, it didn't disintegrate during the process, and I was able to kind of push it together. It's off a little bit, but if you don't really look, you don't really notice it. So, what do you guys think about this kit? Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Would you like to see more kits like this one on the channel? Again, leave me a comment, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. You know, it helps the YouTube algorithm grow my channel. If you have any questions or comments, you know the drill. Please leave those in the comments section below, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleoutaguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and the bell icon so that you'll be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching Scale Out a Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.